Okay, so today I'm going to give you the basic guidelines on how to draw a face. So we're going to start by drawing a large oval on your paper. Notice I am just going very sketchy with my lines. I can come back in and change them up once I'm getting closer to being finished. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to cut our face in half. It's going to give us the dividing line where the bridge of the nose will fall, where the indent on your lips will go. We'll talk about that as we move forward. Okay, so the first guideline that we're going to do, the second guideline we're going to do now is the eyes. So everyone makes the mistake of thinking that the eyes go somewhere up here, higher up towards the top of the head. But actually, in all reality, the eye line is about halfway on the face. I promise it'll make sense as we move forward. And then the nose, right? So the edge, the bottom of the nose is going to fall halfway in between the eye line and the chin line. And then the bottom of the lip is going to fall halfway between the nose line and the chin line. So we take a look. We have our face is cut down the middle. We have a line for our eyes, and we have the line for our nose, and then finally the line for our mouths. So when we are going to begin, and we're going to start with the eyes, I want you to first think about the fact that the eyes actually sit inside of a socket, okay? So there is a cavity inside of your skull where the eyeball actually sits inside of. So we have the circular eyeball, then that is in the middle of that socket. It sits inside, right? And it's protected by the skull. And then we have the iris, and then the pupil. Okay, so when we're thinking about adding eyelids, if we draw our eyes from the step from the skull up and less about drawing an eye, you know how we traditionally think about drawing an eye, it makes it a little bit more realistic. So when we think about adding now, which is the eyelids, right, that's the protector of our eyes. It protects the inside. It protects our eyeball. We have our duct, and then the other eyelid. Now, so we can use these lines in here to gauge what the lines are going to look like underneath to really understand the way the lines are going to fold around your eyelid. And then the bridge, the top, I'm sorry, not the bridge, the brow line, right, the top where if you look at that cavity, is going to be right where, for the most part, our eyebrows are going to sit. And when we think about eyebrows, our hair is directional, right? It grows in one direction. And instead of it being one just straight block, think about all those little tiny baby hairs that we have on our eyebrows. Same thing when we think about drawing our eyelashes. So if I come back in, I start to give myself some shading in here. The eyelashes actually curl out and up. And we have the little baby eyelashes that sit on the ridge of our eyelids. So now I can erase what I have there. Okay, so same thing when we think about that socket. I had that socket line. So that's going to be about the width of your nose. Now, the trick for eyes, the placement of the eyes, and the placement across the eyes in general, across the front of the face. There is 5 eyes, roughly, across, oh, it's a little bigger, your face when we're drawing a face. And there is roughly 1 eye length in between your 2 eyes. So same thing, we build that socket. And we put our eyeball in the socket. We draw our iris and our pupil. We add our eyelids. We add the tear duct. And then I come back and I erase. And this is just a rough drawing, guys. You can do this a lot easier. You're not going to do the step-by-steps that I am necessarily with all of the erasing. So come back in. Same idea. I have my eyelids are being protected, and we know where those lines are going to fall because of my eyeballs. It's very rough. And then same thing, you can draw out the line roughly. And eyebrows are not identical. It's incredibly rare that you would be able to have your eyebrows look absolutely identical. Okay, so I'm gonna clean up my lines a little bit here. Add a little bit more shading. So we have the pupil and the iris. The pupil tends to have some reflection happening in it. Also too, a lot of times the pupil, can sit a little bit smaller. We have colored eyes, right? So your iris is colored, it can be dark, it can be light, depending on the color of your eyes. Right now I'm just kind of fixing up my eyes. Adding in my tear ducts, coming back in with my pencil. And notice I am refining my drawing as I'm going. So I would even go far as to come back in even after I'm done the rest of the face to really come in and still tweak my eyes and add the shading that I need. And we think about that circle of the eye, so we're gonna have some shading happening on the actual eyeball. It's a sphere, so it has some shading in the corner. Okay, and then we're gonna take a look at how to draw a nose next.